Chosen one, there comes a moment in every soul's journey when the darkness realizes it can no longer break you, and so it tries instead to seduce you. The devil is a master of disguise, slipping into your thoughts not with thunder or terror but with whispers soft enough to make you doubt whether the voice is yours or his. He does not always arrive with claws bared or flames rising. Sometimes he comes with a smile, with comfort, with shortcuts, with attention that feels sweet on the surface but bitter in the soul. He comes when you've grown stronger, not weaker. He comes when you've survived the storm, not when you're drowning in it. He comes when he watches you rise from ashes he expected to bury you in. He comes when he sees resilience coating your spirit like armor and your footsteps aligning with destiny. Temptation is his language, his strategy, his counterfeit version of a blessing. And if you listen closely, you will feel it in your bones. The devil tempts those he cannot destroy, because destruction is simple. But detouring a chosen one is a more delicate craft, a patient art, and he knows that if he can bend your focus an inch, he can pull you off your divine path a mile. But you, child of purpose, you must not mistake the glitter for gold, nor the applause for approval, nor the thrill for truth, for not everything placed in your reach is meant to be yours, and not every open door is heaven sent. Sometimes the devil opens a door too, hoping you'll mistake the light leaking out for the sun itself, and he will decorate the entrance with everything your wounded places crave: validation, pleasure, ease, escape, revenge, attention. But understand, this temptation rarely arrives looking like sin. Instead, it appears as relief, as possibility, as comfort, as convenience. It feels like something you deserve after fighting battles only you and God saw you fight. It approaches your loneliness with promises, your exhaustion with shortcuts, your frustration with quick fixes. It speaks to the parts of you that haven't healed yet, the rooms you don't let God enter, the secrets you've buried beneath your own ribs. And that is why you must stay awake, chosen one. Awake in spirit, awake in intention, awake in the quiet places where discernment rises like dawn and warns you when a shadow pretends to be light. And perhaps you have felt this recently. A pull toward something that shines but does not soothe, something that excites but does not align, something that calls your name but not your purpose. The devil has watched you mature through pain, rise through brokenness, and transform through lessons that once crushed you. He has seen you refuse bitterness, refuse despair, refuse to collapse, and so now he attempts something subtler. He offers distractions dressed as opportunities, chaos disguised as passion, people who speak softly but carry the intentions of thieves. He sends temptations that look custom, tailored perfectly to your vulnerabilities, your desires, your fears. He does not tempt you with what you do not want. He tempts you with what you want too deeply, too desperately, too unguardedly. And so you must learn yourself, chosen one, know your appetites and your aches, because the devil studies you like a scholar studies sacred text. He watches your patterns, your impulses, your longings. He cannot read your mind, but he reads your reactions. He cannot predict your destiny, but he predicts your habits. And he waits patiently, silently, skillfully, for the moment when your spirit is weary and your guard is lowered. But hear me clearly, temptation is not a sign of weakness. It is confirmation of strength. The devil does not tempt those he already owns. He does not pursue what is already corrupted. He does not chase what is already lost. He goes after those who threaten his plans, those whose mere existence disrupts darkness, those who carry light heavy enough to expose the schemes he hides in shadows. If you feel temptation rising around you, it is because your anointing is rising too. If you feel the pressure tightening, it is because your breakthrough is nearing its birth. If you feel the pull of wrong paths whispering to you, it is because the right path is beginning to reveal itself, and he wants to stop you before you see it. So do not condemn yourself for being tempted. Even the holiest were tempted. Even the strongest were tempted. Even the ones closest to God were tempted. Temptation does not define you, your response does. When the devil realizes he cannot destroy your body, he tries to distract your mind. When he cannot ruin your purpose, he tries to delay it. When he cannot kill your calling, he tries to counterfeit it. He hopes you will accept the lesser so you never reach the greater. He hopes you will settle for what is easy so you never receive what is eternal. He hopes you will choose comfort over character, attention over authenticity, impulse over intuition. But chosen one, destiny is never found in ease. Purpose is never discovered in shortcuts. Growth is never built in convenience. Greatness requires the discipline to say no when your flesh says yes. It requires the vision to see beyond the moment. It requires the clarity to feel the difference between peace and excitement. Because excitement is loud but peace is steady, and the devil traffics in noise but God speaks in stillness. You must become a guardian of your own gates. The gate of your mind, the gate of your heart, the gate of your desires, the gate of your focus. You must watch what you allow yourself to entertain. Because temptation grows where attention goes. You must watch who you allow near you, because not all company is companionship. Some people are simply open doors for spiritual sabotage. You must watch what you call harmless, because even small cracks let in serpents. You must watch what you justify, because the devil loves to hide destruction inside excuses. And you must especially watch what you crave when you are tired, lonely, angry, or discouraged, for temptation speaks loudest when you feel emptiest. But your emptiness is not your enemy. It is simply the space where God is preparing to pour something new. Do not fill it prematurely. Do not soothe it artificially. Do not let the devil trick you into satisfying a spiritual hunger with carnal crumbs. You were made for meals that nourish the soul, not snacks that numb it. You were made for abundance, not addiction. You were made for purpose, not pleasure without meaning. You were made for divinely aligned companionship, not temporary validation. You were made for victories that echo in heaven, not indulgences that chain your spirit. And perhaps you feel torn between two voices, one urging you toward righteousness and one luring you toward recklessness. One voice whispers patience, healing, integrity. The other whispers urgency, desire, escape. One speaks to the future you are becoming, the other speaks to the wounds you haven't healed yet. Hear me, chosen one. If it calls to your weakness, it is not from God. If it pulls you away from peace, it is not from God. If it requires secrecy, self-betrayal, or silence toward your own intuition, it is not from God. God's presence do not require you to hide them. God's blessings do not come with anxiety. God's direction does not leave you confused. God does not lead you toward what drains you. But the devil does, because he knows that drained hearts make desperate decisions. And desperation breeds temptation like fire breeds smoke. That is why your spiritual rest matters. That is why protecting your energy matters. That is why pausing to breathe, to pray, to realign matters. Because when your spirit is nourished, temptation has no entry point. Chosen one, you must not be ashamed of your battles. You must not be embarrassed by the temptations you face. Every warrior has a weakness they must learn to overcome. Every prophet has a thorn that keeps them humble enough to seek God. Every chosen soul has a place where the devil presses hardest. But these are not signs of your failure. They are signs of your assignment. The greater your purpose, the greater the pressure. The higher your calling, the more creative the enemy becomes. The brighter your light, the more the darkness gathers to dim it. So instead of fearing temptation, recognize it as evidence that you are on the brink of transformation. Instead of running from the struggle, face it with the authority already woven into your spirit. Instead of collapsing under the weight of it, stand tall and speak to it like one who knows they are chosen. Not by accident, not by chance, but by divine intention. You must tell the devil no even when your flesh screams yes. You must walk away even when the moment begs you to stay. You must close doors that echo with familiar comfort but hide spiritual danger. You must choose what builds you, not what breaks you beautifully. You must choose purpose over pleasure, healing over habit, calling over craving. You must choose to rise even when it feels easier to fall. You must choose to be disciplined in a world that worships distraction. You must choose integrity in a world addicted to indulgence. And when you make these choices, the devil trembles, because he knows your strength is not in perfection but in perseverance. He knows your power is not in never being tempted, but in refusing to bow. He knows your destiny is not determined by the battles you face but by the faith you carry into them. And oh, chosen one, what a powerful thing it is when a soul chooses God even while trembling. What a powerful thing it is when a heart whispers, "I will not give in," even when temptation scratches at the door. What a powerful thing it is when a person resists what once ruined them and steps boldly into what renews them. This is how heaven recognizes warriors, not by their lack of struggle but by their refusal to surrender to it. And you, beloved soul, are one of heaven's warriors. You have walked through nights that should have swallowed you. You have endured losses that should have emptied you. You have stood in fires meant to melt you. Yet here you are, rising still. That is why the devil tries to tempt you, because destroying you no longer works, because discouraging you no longer works, because confusing you no longer works. So he tempts you instead, hoping you will sabotage yourself in ways he no longer has power to. But you will not anymore, not now that you know the truth, not now that your spirit has awakened to the games he plays. For you are stepping into a new season, one where your discernment sharpens like lightning, where your intuition becomes a shield, where your wisdom grows roots deeper than temptation's reach. You are stepping into a season where your no becomes sacred, powerful, grounded, immovable, where you recognize the devil's disguised offerings and decline them without trembling, where you feel the pull of temptation and smile, not in arrogance but in understanding, because now you know that if the devil is tempting you, it is because God is elevating you. Elevation always attracts opposition. Growth always attracts resistance. But the chosen are not meant to crumble, they are meant to ascend. And you are ascending slowly or quickly, softly or boldly, but without question, you are rising. So walk forward knowing this temptation is not your enemy's victory, it is your announcement. It is heaven's way of saying, you are getting close. It is destiny's way of saying, stay the course. It is God's way of saying, I have trusted you with much, and now I am strengthening you for more. And when you feel that temptation again, and you will pause, breathe, become still, and ask your soul, is this feeding my future or starving it? The answer will rise like light breaking through clouds, and when it does, follow that light. Trust that light. Honor that light. It is the voice of your purpose guiding you forward, step by sacred step. And remember always, chosen one, the devil tempts most violently those he fears most deeply. And he fears you, not because you are perfect, but because you are persistent. He fears you because you rise. He fears you because you endure. He fears you because every time he thinks he has found the crack in your foundation, he realizes God has already filled it with grace. You are untouchable in ways you do not even understand yet. Keep walking. Keep resisting. Keep choosing the path that honors your calling. The devil is loud, but he is not Lord. Temptation is strong, but it is not stronger than the Spirit God placed within you. And when the devil realizes he cannot destroy you, and he already has, he will flee, leaving you standing taller, wiser, stronger, ready to step fully into the destiny he hoped you'd never reach. And yet, chosen one, even as you stand on the edge of this becoming, the devil will attempt one last strategy. He will try to convince you that you are still who you used to be. He will try to remind you of every weakness you once bowed to, every mistake you once made, every chapter you buried but still fear someone might dig up. He is a historian of your past, but he is illiterate in your future. He knows what you were, but he trembles at what you are becoming. And so he tempts you with old patterns wrapped in new faces. He tempts you with familiar feelings disguised as fresh beginnings. He tempts you with the same wounds dressed in different clothing. He hopes you will not recognize that what once broke you cannot break you anymore, because you are no longer the same soul who fell, the same heart that cried, the same spirit that doubted. You have been refined, reshaped, rerouted, renewed. The fire that once threatened to consume you has instead carved wisdom into your bones. The storms that once pushed you to your knees have instead taught you the language of surrender. The losses that once shattered you have instead revealed the strength of your soul. You are not who you were then, and you must not let the devil paint you with colors you no longer wear. You see, temptation often feels strongest right before breakthrough. It tightens its grip as the blessing draws near. It becomes louder when your spirit becomes clearer. It becomes more urgent when your direction becomes more divine. And perhaps you have felt it. A sudden pull toward things you thought you outgrew. A sudden craving for familiar chaos. A sudden desire for what you know is beneath you. That is not failure. That is not regression. That is pressure. That is spiritual stretching. That is the trembling of old chains that can no longer hold you but still rattle in your memory. And oh, how the devil hopes you will confuse the sound of rattling chains with the feeling of being trapped. But listen, chosen one, the chains are rattling because they are breaking. They are shaking because they have reached their limit. They are trembling because they are losing their grip on you. This is not bondage. This is birth. You must tell yourself this truth even when your emotions disagree. You must remind your heart that it is healing even when it feels fragile. You must remind your mind that it is growing even when it feels overwhelmed. You must remind your spirit that it is elevating even when it feels tested. Growth does not feel gentle at first. Strength does not feel soft when it forms. Breakthrough does not arrive quietly. And so, as temptation rises, understand that your spirit is being conditioned for the next level. God is training your discernment, sharpening your instincts, refining your desires. He is teaching you how to recognize what is meant for you and what is meant to destroy you. He is teaching you how to choose legacy over lust, purpose over pleasure, destiny over distraction. And chosen one, you must not be afraid of the places where you still feel weak. Weakness is not a curse, it is a compass. It reveals where God is still working in you. It shows you where the devil tries to enter. It teaches you where to build better boundaries. Weakness is not the place where you fall. It is the place where God lifts you. It is the place where humility blooms, where growth begins, where transformation deepens. And that is why the devil tempts you in those places. They carry the seeds of your greatest strength. He knows that if you learn mastery over your weakness, you become unstoppable. He knows that if you tame the parts of you that once ruled you, you will no longer be accessible to him. So he pulls at those places, hoping you will retreat in shame instead of rise in awareness. But shame is a lie the devil uses to hide your potential. Guilt is the chain he uses to keep you from walking forward. You must reject both. You must lift your chin, breathe deeply, and declare with authority, "Yes, I have weaknesses, but they do not own me, they do not define me, they do not dictate my destiny, because God does not choose the flawless, He chooses the willing. He does not choose the perfect, He chooses the persistent. And you, chosen one, have persisted again and again, even when trembling, even when exhausted, even when bleeding in places no one could see. Heaven has watched you wrestle battles you didn't have language for. Heaven has watched you resist temptations that once controlled you effortlessly. Heaven has watched you hunger for righteousness even when unrighteousness was easier, quicker, more enticing. And heaven has taken note. Every moment you said no to what would have ruined you became a clap of thunder in the spiritual realm. Every moment you walked away from what glittered became a declaration of your worth. Every moment you chose discipline over desire became the foundation of the future God is building in your honor. And the devil sees this too. He sees the strengthening of your spirit. He sees the settling of your identity. He sees the glow in your eyes returning, the certainty in your steps forming, the reverence in your heart deepening. And when he sees a chosen one growing quiet in wisdom, steady in discipline, anchored in purpose, he panics. He panics because you are becoming everything he fears. You are becoming someone he cannot manipulate, someone he cannot seduce with shortcuts, someone he cannot distract with temptation, someone he cannot delay with lies, someone he cannot wound with old memories, someone he cannot derail with sudden impulses, someone who sees through illusion, someone who loves truth more than pleasure, someone who chooses God even when God feels silent, someone who holds on to faith even when evidence is absent. This is why your temptations have intensified. They are not signs of spiritual weakness, but evidence of spiritual graduation. You are being promoted in realms you cannot see, and promotion always attracts interference. But interference is not defeat, it is proof of your progress. Proof that heaven is moving. Proof that your destiny is unfolding. Proof that the devil is running out of strategies. So when temptation whispers to you again, and it will, do not panic. Do not shrink. Do not curse yourself for feeling what you feel. Instead, grow still. Listen, discern. Ask your soul, what is this really trying to take from me? Because temptation is never about the moment. It is about the mission. It is never about the desire. It is about the destiny. It is never about what you want now. It is about what you are meant to carry later. And if you can pause long enough to see the spiritual cost behind the emotional craving, you will overpower the temptation before it overpowers you. Chosen one, you are entering a season where self-mastery will become your shield, where wisdom will become your armor, where clarity will become your compass, where peace will become your inheritance. You will not fight the same battles you once fought. You will not fall for the same lies you once believed. You will not return to the same places that once felt like home but were prisons in disguise. You will not crave the same comfort you once mistook for connection. You will not hunger for the same distractions you once fed your emptiness with. You are outgrowing the very things the devil tries to tempt you with, and that frustrates him more than anything. He cannot tempt you with what you no longer desire. He cannot derail you with what you have healed from. He cannot seduce you with what your spirit has already exposed. There will come a day, sooner than you think, when the very temptation that shakes you today will bore you, where the very weakness that pulls you now will lose its flavor, where the very desire that once controlled you will feel too small, too shallow, too beneath the depth of who you have become. That is transformation. That is rebirth. That is evolution. And you are walking into it one powerful step at a time. So lift your head, chosen one. You are not losing this battle. You are not failing this test. You are not slipping backward. You are being refined, strengthened, awakened. You are learning how to rule the very parts of you that once ruled you. You are learning how to see with spiritual eyes, how to feel with spiritual wisdom, how to walk with spiritual discipline. And as you do, the devil grows more powerless, more distant, more irrelevant. You are not being tempted because you are weak. You are being tempted because you are rising, because you are dangerous, because you are chosen, because you are becoming the version of yourself that the devil prayed you'd never discover. The version of yourself that knows how to say no with authority, that knows how to reject what does not honor your calling, that knows how to choose the path that leads to greatness, even when it demands sacrifice, that knows how to forgive yourself when you falter and rise again without shame, that knows how to speak light into the places where darkness once lived comfortably, that knows how to walk with God not only in the sunlight but in the shadows too. So walk forward, chosen one, with a heart both tender and fierce, with a spirit both humble and unshakable. Walk with eyes open, with boundaries strong, with desires purified. Walk knowing that temptation is not a sign of God's absence but God's training. Walk knowing that the devil only fights what he fears, and he fears you deeply, for you are no longer the wounded soul he once hunted. You are the rising warrior he cannot destroy, and when he realizes his temptations no longer sway you, he will flee, leaving you standing in your full strength, ready to step into the destiny he tried so hard to keep you from. And chosen one, there will come a moment, quiet, almost unnoticeable, when you feel something shift inside you, something subtle yet unmistakably holy. It will feel like a soft exhale from heaven brushing against your spirit, reminding you that you have survived battles meant to bury you, endured storms designed to confuse you, and resisted temptations crafted to break you. You may not have realized it while you were walking through the fire, but you have been changing. You have been maturing. You have been strengthening. You have been awakening. And now, the devil trembles at the sound of your footsteps, because you are no longer walking like someone unsure of who they are. You are walking like someone who knows they are chosen, protected, and destined for greatness. Your stride has changed. Your spirit has grown teeth. Your soul has developed vision. What once pulled you easily now barely stirs you. What once sparked desire now feels like dust in your hands. What once tempted you with false sweetness now tastes bitter with truth. That is evolution. That is spiritual authority forming inside you. The devil tries to lure you with counterfeit blessings because he sees the real blessing approaching. He senses heaven moving on your behalf. He hears doors unlocking in the spiritual realm long before they reach your earthly life. He feels angels shifting assignments, aligning opportunities, preparing pathways. And so he tempts you with distractions designed to delay you just long enough to miss what God has sent in motion. But you, chosen one, have learned too much to be deceived again. You have cried too deeply to fall for the same invitation that once seduced your loneliness. You have healed too painfully to return to the comfort that once numbed your purpose. You have grown too intentionally to sabotage yourself for something temporary. There is a new wisdom in you now, a wisdom carved from every trial you endured, a wisdom seasoned by the wilderness, a wisdom that can see beneath the surface of sweetness and recognize poison hiding in the sugar. And when the devil sees that wisdom shining from you, he grows desperate. Desperation is the birthplace of his boldest temptations. He will offer you shortcuts when he knows you are close to fulfillment. He will present counterfeit love when he senses real love approaching your life. He will stir old cravings when he sees new discipline forming. He will throw opportunities that shine just enough to distract but not enough to elevate. He will use urgency to make you impatient, delay to make you doubt, silence to make you question your worth. But as you stand firm, as you breathe through the tension, as you choose alignment over impulse, you will notice something miraculous. The temptations lose their weight. What once felt irresistible now feels irrelevant. What once felt overwhelming now feels obvious. What once felt like a battle now feels like a choice. Because temptation has no power over a soul that knows itself. And that is what you are learning, chosen one. You are learning yourself. Learning your triggers, your patterns, your wounds, your strengths. Learning how to navigate your emotions without letting them drive your decisions. Learning how to pause before reacting, how to listen before speaking, how to observe before surrendering. This is spiritual maturity. This is emotional intelligence. This is divine discipline shaping you for the future God has prepared. The devil wants you reactive, but God is teaching you to become intentional. The devil wants you impulsive, but God is teaching you to become discerning. The devil wants you distracted, but God is teaching you to become focused. Temptation tests these qualities not to expose your weakness, but to reveal your growth. And as you continue rising, you will notice the enemy no longer tempts you with the obvious. He begins to tempt you with what looks righteous but is not meant for you. Opportunities that look good but drain your spirit. People who appear supportive but carry hidden agendas. Choices that seem harmless but lead you away from your calling. Not every distraction is sinful. Some are simply misaligned. Not every temptation is wicked. Some are just wrong for your purpose. And as you mature spiritually, the devil stops trying to scare you and starts trying to subtly shift you. He tries to make you almost obedient, almost faithful, almost aligned, because almost is enough to delay destiny. But chosen one, you are not called to be almost anything. You are called to be fully, fiercely, unapologetically aligned with what God has placed on your life. And as you commit to this alignment, you may find certain people drifting away, certain habits dissolving, certain desires evaporating. Do not mourn them. Do not chase what God has removed. Do not grieve over what your spirit has outgrown. There are seasons where God cleans your environment so He can elevate your identity. There are seasons where He strips away noise so you can hear Him clearly. There are seasons where He allows temptation to reveal who is for you and who is against you, what is strengthening you and what is draining you. Temptation has a strange way of separating the temporary from the eternal. It exposes motives. It reveals attachments. It clarifies priorities. It shows you where you must remain and where you must release. And release is a holy act. Releasing what no longer aligns creates room for what is meant to come. Releasing old desires makes space for divine desires. Releasing old temptations creates pathways for new wisdom. Every time you let go of what once tempted you, heaven takes note. Every time you choose faith over impulse, angels record it as victory. Every time you resist the old pattern, your spirit strengthens its foundation. And soon, you will notice you are no longer fighting for your future. You are attracting it. Your energy shifts, your decisions sharpen, your boundaries strengthen. Your spirit deepens. You stop trying to earn what is already yours. You stop trying to chase what is already aligned. You stop trying to prove your worth because you realize it is inherent. And as this realization settles into your bones, the devil will attempt his final temptation. He will try to use exhaustion against you. When he cannot distract you with pleasure, he will try to wear you down with pressure. He will try to make you feel tired of resisting, tired of waiting, tired of believing, tired of standing strong. He will whisper that maybe settling is easier, that compromise is quicker, that surrendering is simpler. But listen, chosen one, you are not tired because you are weak. You are tired because you are close. You are tired because the weight you are carrying is the weight of breakthrough crowning. You are tired because the last mile before victory is the most demanding. You are tired because greatness is coming, and greatness always requires the final push. And when your body is weary, when your emotions feel fragile, when your spirit trembles beneath the pressure, that is when heaven leans closest. That is when God whispers the loudest. That is when angels strengthen your steps. You are not meant to carry this alone, you are meant to carry it with divine help. The temptation to give up appears strongest right before the blessing is delivered. But you will not give up. You will not fall back into old patterns. You will not shrink into old versions of yourself. You have fought too long, learned too much, and risen too high to return to what once controlled you. Chosen one, hear this deep lie: the devil sends temptation not because you are weak, but because you are powerful. Not because you are lost, but because you are aligned. Not because you are failing, but because you are winning. He senses your elevation. He feels your transformation. He sees your anointing expanding, and so he fights you not from a place of dominance, but from a place of fear. Temptation is the weapon of a defeated enemy trying to reclaim ground he has already lost. And now, as you stand here, stronger than you have ever been, wiser than you have ever known, more aware than you have ever felt, let this truth settle into your soul: temptation is no longer your master. You are no longer the wounded soul who once surrendered without a fight. You are no longer the lost spirit who once depended on broken things to feel whole. You are no longer the fragile heart who once believed you needed what was actually destroying you. You have outgrown your old chains. You have outlived your old prisons. You have outrun your old fears. You are walking into a season where the devil will regret ever trying to tempt you. You are stepping into a power he cannot imitate, a wisdom he cannot corrupt, a destiny he cannot stop. And as you continue forward, steady, grounded, unshakable, you will become the kind of chosen one the devil cannot tempt, cannot trap, cannot touch. The kind who knows their worth, honors their path, protects their spirit, and walks boldly in the calling God has placed upon their life. And when you reach that place, and you will look back at these temptations not with shame, not with regret, but with gratitude. For they did not destroy you, they revealed you. They showed you your strength, your depth, your discipline, your devotion. They taught you who you are. They shaped the warrior rising within you. And now, chosen one, you stand ready, ready for the blessing, ready for the promise, ready for the destiny that has been waiting for your arrival. And even now, as you stand at this crossroads between who you used to be and who God is shaping you to become, there is a quiet stirring inside you that refuses to be silenced. It is the whisper that returns in the stillness of the night, the nudge that presses on your heart when you try to go back to old patterns, the gentle pull that keeps telling you there is more for you than what you have settled for. This is the evidence that God is not finished with you, that heaven is still writing chapters with your name carved in bold, that purpose is still breathing beneath the rubble of everything you thought was ruined. And if you could see what God sees, even for a moment, you would realize that you are standing on the edge of a divine unveiling. You would feel the weight of destiny wrapping itself around your spirit like a mantle. You would understand why the attacks felt relentless, why the loneliness felt deep, why the delays stretched